Hey, g'day again. Alright, we're still working on the Fairlanes. Yeah, this is that filter that comes out from under the PCV, the pressure control valve, which is at the back of your manifold. I'll show you shortly. I had this soaking in a caustic degreaser overnight. I've sprayed it with Carbiclean. I've even soaked it in petrol, and that's just as blocked as you can get. There's no way you're going to clean that out. I even thought about unravelling it, but I can't even find the end of it. That's why I took it out of the tube. That's the tube it comes in. This is the top of it. Has this bit of mesh, top and bottom, and these tabs are folded over. So it's these tabs, because as I said, they're folded over, and that's what you use to pull it out with. You hook something underneath it, or you just use a bit of wire. But yeah, all the advice I've had on this, which isn't a lot, have just said to take it out, leave it out, throw it away. But yeah, I kind of think, well, it's in there for a reason. What is the reason it's in there for? Possibly your PCB is going to suck oil up into your manifold or something. That's possibly what it is. It's to stop the oil flow from being drawn out. Anyway, as I said, without being able to unravel that or anything, there's no way I'm going to get that clean. I haven't inquired as to whether you can get a new one. But anyway, as I said, I'm going to leave it out. You can access this just by taking the throttle body manifold off the top half. The manifold, this one here, which is upside down. Yeah, that's your PCB there. You also find that rubber was all sort of gunky, really soft and whatever, but yeah, I previously cut a little bit off the bottom, about 1/4 inch off the bottom. There's enough of it there to go back in and seal up. Might have run a bit of sealant around that before I put it back in. But yeah, they wanted $75 for this rubber grommet. Yeah. They can jam it at that price. Said if I had to, I'd get a bit of heater hose or something and make a new one. But anyway, that'll suffice. Put a bit of solvent around there and plug it back in. Obviously I haven't cleaned this one up yet, still. But yeah, you can access this filter just by taking this one off, which is not that difficult. I'll show you. Right, this is the front of your engine, obviously with the water cock. This is where that filter goes. This is where your PCB fits in. And yeah, on this Fairlane, well, it's sort of half that hole is basically covered up by the top part of your manifold. You firewall your cars just here. You've got really minimal access to it. It took me ages just to find the thing to begin with. And then yeah. So anyway, I'm going to try it without it, see how we go. And I have cleaned this up. This one, scraped it. I used a blade scraper on that. It didn't come up that well either, so I've then emeryed it. I've got some wet 240 emery. I've used that with a bit of Carbiclean I sprayed on there anyway. Hasn't come up that perfect though. Like, it's smooth, but yeah, as you can see, it's not But whatever that is, it's hard as. Like, that's smooth, you can't feel any of that. But at the same time, I'm going to run a little bit of sealant just around the water jets. Not going to put sealant around there because your fuel can actually dissolve sealant. And even around here it'll just be a very minimal amount, because I'll run it across here, especially in your corners. Because that's, if you don't put sealant, it'll leak all out of those corners. Cleaned up a little bit. Put some degreaser on it, pressure washed it. Not perfect, but yeah. The whole engine's full of carbon, so I don't see it's going to matter that much. Right, in here, show you them. Right, there's the bolts that come out of the end of the inlet manifold. The V manifold. The ones that go down for your water jackets. So they must have actually been leaking at some point to cause this sort of rust on the bolts. And they were really tight. Yet the next one that's long, that's the comparison. The M1s in your water jacket compared to the other ones. So, as I said, yeah, that must have been leaking coolant into it at some point around the bolts. So, anyway, I'm going to I'll put them on a wire wheel. I'll put all of them on the wire wheel, clean them up, and run a bit of grease around the outside ones just to prevent it rusting again. The other thing I've done, as I said, yeah, I'll be putting them on the wire wheel, get all the threads clean. The other thing I've done, get some light on there. So I've got a thread tap, and yeah, make sure it's the right thread tap. And what I've done is I've got one of the bolts. Check it up against the thread and make sure you can't see any daylight. Make sure it's the exact right size, and you also check the diameter. So yeah, and then this is how you would start it. Firstly, I said, yeah, you can see a rag, and there's rag in all the ports. And there's rag in here, and you want to tuck it right up underneath where your threaded holes are, because you want to catch anything that comes out of here. But yeah, as I said, when you start it, spray a bit of cleaner or something in there, and you want to be able to turn it, several threads like that without the bar in it. And you want to do that with each one, just to make sure, for one, that you do actually have the right thread tap, and that you're going there straight, not cross-threading it. But yeah, as I said, this is really, really important. It's important with anything that has a critical torque setting, like your head bolts, your big end bolts, manifold bolts, anything that's really critical to be torqued down to the right amount. If you don't do that, you're going to get a false reading. You're going to get tension on the dirty thread, and it's not going to be down tight enough. So, but yeah, especially those M1s, they are really bad, these four. So I've gone along, cleaned them all, so run them right through till they come. These ones they go right through. So yeah, make sure the rag's up underneath while you're doing it. You want to catch anything that comes out of there. Well, it's mostly carbon. You shouldn't actually see any metal. Might be, and you might get a tiny bit, if the tap's just, a minute amount bigger than the original. You might get a tiny bit, but yeah, you want to catch it all. If your holes bottom out, and you want to screw it right down to where they bottom out, and you also, like I'm going to oil all these bolts just lightly before I put them in, or grease them. I grease the end ones. But if you're in holes that bottom out, you don't want to use grease because the grease will get in there, and you also get a false tension reading because you can't compress grease or oil. So if that fills up the hole that you're screwing the bolts in, and it's going to tell you that it's torqued up before it is. Yeah. So yeah, it's something to keep in mind. Okay, I'm going to get the air blower in here shortly and try and blow it off without blowing it underneath the rag. Then pull all the rags out. It's also a good idea, there'll be some that'll get in there. Regardless of how much care you take, you're going to get a little bit of rubbish in there. I mean, some of it, even though I've blown it all out around here before I even loosened any of the bolts, you'll still get some in there and it'll fall in the moment you lift it out. So, yeah, change your oil and change your filter afterwards, like not straight away. You want to, fire it up, run it for a little while at least so that it'll wash anything that's in there down into the sump. So, yeah, once again, I'll clean this with a blade scraper. Yeah, it's this one here. This is two things I use for cleaning. One's a wood chisel. Make sure it's sharp, no gouges in it, and not rounded in any way. It's sharp and flat. And this for the bigger areas. And clean your tap. I've been spraying a bit of throttle body cleaner on here on the tap each time and spraying it down the hole. And I better go easy on that because I bought that to clean the throttle body and I've almost used it all up actually. I haven't got the throttle body yet. Throttle body's got oil in it because it's been pumping out through the other breather due to this pressure build up in here. So had this pressure issue for a while now. I said it originally blew out the sump gasket, and I fixed that. Now it's blowing it out through the top breather, blowing oil out, and it's also blowing oil out of the dipstick. And this is the whole cause of the problem. This mesh thing. So yeah. Alright, we'll leave it at that. I'm going to get this cleaned out now, and I've got to get my new gaskets. As I said, I'll put a little bit on both sides of the gasket, just around the water jackets. Very light smear, and then I'm going to put it on, torque it down, and we'll see how we go. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.